you see this? What? That's our ordinance.
You look at this stuff.
Yeah, I just looked at it, yeah.
I mean,
That's
we're all
ours.
pretty well
Yeah.
good with it, but
I never knew that.
Tom still has some concerns.
Matt pointed that out to me this afternoon. I reported to him on the last night.
Are you ready, Nancy?
Okay, we're gonna do it.
You guys ready?
Yep.
I'd like to call the 7 PM work session meeting to order. Roll call, please, Nancy.
Mr. Boonstra?
Here.
Mr. Lane?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
I hear.
Mr. Shanley?
Here.
And Mayor Melchiong.
Here. Could you please read the open work session statement?
I can. This regular work session meeting of the Wykoff Township Committee is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the municipal clerk and has been posted on our municipal website. A copy has also been emailed to the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald News, all newspapers having a general circulation throughout the township of Wykoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and emailed to said newspapers.
Thank you. Can you confirm Finance Committee has reviewed and signed vouchers?
All of those vouchers are signed, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to open 10-minute public comment period, 10-minute public comment period, 2 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wykoff?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Melchiong.
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
Please step forward to the microphone if you wish to make a comment.
Good evening, Janet Toomey, 501A Aspen Lane. And I was wondering if I could ask if our town manager, Mr. Cavallo, if you've heard any more about the Shade Tree Commission about the lantern. They were, I think 2 or 3 meetings before, they had mentioned something from the state. I didn't question it then, because I didn't know if you even knew about it, but, you know, because it was new. And do you know if there's any news about that?
So the Shade Tree Commission has not changed their stance with regard to how the township is, or what the township is doing with the lantern flies. We did receive a $25,000 grant, which runs until the end of 2026, to purchase. It's for a litany of items, but most of the towns are going with the purchasing of traps, because the spraying of the lantern flies doesn't work, basically. But they're with regard to the Tree of Heaven, I believe the Shade Tree Commission has taken the stance that if it's on township property, we are not going to be cutting down the trees of heaven, because it is now found that it's not just the Tree of Heaven that the lantern fly is attached to. They attach to pretty much all trees, oaks, maples, everything. While it is an invasive species and it is our responsibility to make sure that it doesn't get out of control, it's not something that we have the funds to handle right now. We're still handling backlogs of tree removal requests in public right-of-ways, in front of residents' homes, and pruning requests. You know, this year alone, we're probably already approaching $70,000 in tree removals. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, well, we removed 2 big trees from our property, which were very expensive to remove, but they were infested and large trees, and they affect the trees next to them, and we've invested a lot of money in landscaping. So I was wondering if there's any kind of guidelines for people who own property, that we should be following too, that we could, would
So
be.
the township is not going to be directing people to remove trees. If a resident wants to, if a homeowner wants to remove a tree, we're actually gonna get into this in a little bit, the township committee. The residents wanna remove trees, there's a process for them to go through to remove a tree. But it's basically on the residents' and homeowners' responsibilities.
But that's, I personally probably agree with that, but, what I really wanted to know is more information coming out maybe from the state or the Shade Tree Commission or, the Township Commission, to help property owners, deal with it, or to even make them cognizant of it.
Yeah.
Matt, didn't we have some informational stuff that we were sending out from, was it the Board of Health or?
We were rebroadcasting the
Yeah.
stuff that was coming out from the Department of Agriculture, the State Department of Agriculture.
Right.
But I haven't even seen anything new from them since last year.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. Whatever they send us, we've been forwarding out to the residents.
So if the Tree Commission must be more informed than the rest of us, or do they?
I can speak to that.
Okay.
I mean, it was brought up at the last meeting, and the only solution that seems to work are these traps. Okay, it's a very invasive species. They don't know, they're still not sure, even if they do affect a tree, what the outcome's gonna be. A tree may still survive. It's still fresh and new as far as a species like that here in this particular area. So Matt, maybe you and I should talk about, we talked about the traps and the grant money, that, you know, I think what may be a good idea is that if we could get a number of these traps and provide them, I think that's something that may at least help a little bit. That's the best solution right now.
Yeah.
I remember many years ago when there was a gypsy moth invasion, you know, they were sprayed and it was an effective spray. There is no known effective spray that wouldn't be so toxic
Right.
to other things that they're aware of. At least nobody's informed us from the state or anywhere else. So it is an absolute topic of conversation. In fact, it was funny because we were saying, where are they? We haven't seen them yet, but they're coming.
Yeah. And,
So-
and we're trying to deal with that
Yeah,
now too.
yeah, and, yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically, I'm ignorant of that, of all of, you know, that problem. I didn't know about it till I talked about it here, and you talked about it. But I don't think a lot of people are aware of it as they should be,
Yeah.
even in our community, you know.
Well, I think last year, I can tell you, this may sound funny, but they jump. And
yeah.
if you go to kill them, you gotta make sure that you really squash them very effectively.
Yeah.
I mean, I was driving my car down the road to the car wash, and you could see, they hang on the hood of the car, they travel on the car, and off they go.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a nuisance, and hopefully it doesn't impact on the beautiful shade trees that we have in town. We
Yeah.
have a great canopy of trees here, and we'll see where it goes. I'm sure that there are people working on it, because if there's money to be made somehow,
Yeah, right.
that somebody may come up with some effective treatment. But right now, unless somebody else knows anything else, folks, the most effective is this trap that goes around the trunk of the tree.
That's great. If we could get that info out, maybe that would be helpful for people. I don't know that, you know.
We'll
but-
work on doing something, Matt and myself and the Shade Tree Commission, Township
And we
Committee.
thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Anybody else?
There being none, motion to close public session.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Melchiong?
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, the motion is approved.
All right. Matt, you ready for administrator report?
So with regard to the agenda, We have several resolutions with regard to the Affordability Assistance Grant and the Evergreen Apartments. Those are the deed-restricted affordable housing apartments that we have at Christian Health. We have 6 resolutions closing out former grants, 3 resolutions authorizing new grants. Moving on, we have a resolution closing out the FlexiPave contract at Russell Farms, which was completed back in May. This was contract number 2. If you recall, we closed one out last September as well. So now the entire walking path at Russell Farm has been completed. Now that once this check clears, then we can submit our final reimbursement to the County of Bergen, because this was funded 50% by the Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund. There are 2 resolutions authorizing release of performance bonds, and we also have a resolution authorizing the contract for the purchase of the Packer truck, which was which was funded by the bond ordinance this past year. There are 2 ordinances for introduction. The first is 2016. We've been speaking about this for several months. This is the ordinance establishing our regulation to regulate the removal and replacement of trees on private property. Actually, I should say on all property. This is a requirement of our MS4 permit. Our MS4 stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. That's a permit that's issued by the DEP, and it's a requirement that every municipality adopt an ordinance to regulate the removal and replacement of trees. Additionally, 2017 is an ordinance regulating the privately owned storage of salt. Again, that is a standard ordinance that came from DEP, but only left us a very little section that we can amend, and that has to do with other zoning. And that section is just requires that a permanent salt storage facility on commercial property, or I should say on non-residential property, requires site plan. A temporary salt storage facility, which can only be in place from October to April, requires zoning approval. Not zoning board, zoning approval, which means they have to go submit a zoning application, and get approval from the engineer, which will then get, from the zoning officer, which will allow them to have their temporary storage of salt. There are four motions for approval, which will be read in detail coming up. Going back to 2016, the council has a rough draft of a flow chart which describes how and when a permit would be required, and if a permit is required, if a fee is required, and if a fee is required, if replacement is required of a tree in town, and then what the replacement requirements are. Came up with this to try and create a workflow so that when the ordinance is adopted, our staff don't have to be digging through 10 pages of an ordinance to try and direct people in the right manner. Once we pass the ordinance, once we get this vetted, my goal is also to post this online so that it assists residents, and there'll be links so that a resident can click here to get a permit application, or click here to see the list of invasive species, or click here to go to the state's list of licensed tree experts. So that it's all right there in one spot for them. Moving on to the agenda, to just some updates. Estimated tax bills went out at the beginning of July. Third quarter taxes and second half sewer payments are due August 1st to the tax office. The Sycamac sewer extension project near the barn began roughly 2 weeks ago. They are 3/4 of the way up Terhune Terrace as of today. The crews are getting in about 4 to 5 lengths of sewer each day. This is a deep dig they got to do, and they did encounter some red rock, so they did have to bring in some heavier equipment to get through. But they are moving they're moving at a great pace for that job, really. It's our hope that probably by the weekend they're going to be very close to that intersection, so we're in communication with the traffic officer and the contractor to try and figure out when Sycamac will start to be closed during the day for that project. The Grandview Avenue paving, as you noticed, milling's been going on for 2 days now. Milling is done as of today. Paving should begin tomorrow, weather permitting, and should be done tomorrow. The final coat should be down. That doesn't mean the project is complete. They still need to come in and do line striping, and some other punch list items, but the majority of the work will be done tomorrow. That should be the last substantial road closure for Grandview Ave. The 2024 road resurfacing program should be starting next week. We're just waiting on some final paperwork and a final pre-construction meeting with the DPW that I believe is going to occur on Thursday. For anybody who's traveled behind Town Hall, behind the fire department, you'll notice that the restrooms near Memorial Field have started construction. The foundation's been dug. I believe the foundation has been poured. The masonry wall should start going up shortly. It's our expectation that that work will be substantially complete for the start of football season, the regular season, not practice season. If not the first week, hopefully by the second, just depending on timeline and materials. You'll also notice that there is some new curbing work that's been done around the triangle behind the firehouse and along Woodland. Woodland is being paved this year, thanks to Ridgewood Water, who actually paid for part of it, as they needed to replace that aging water main that serviced the library that was causing the brown water for many, many years there. So we wanted to get that curbing in, because as part of some of our grants that we have that we've been holding on to money for, that hopefully we close out this year, we have additional site lighting, additional decorative lighting to go and finish off that complex. So we wanted to get the curbing in there so that everything's done without having the road having to be torn back up again. We submitted a grant to NJDOT to help with the funding of the intersection improvements, specifically the crosswalk that we're looking to do at Spring Meadow Drive. I want to thank Father Stephen at St. Elizabeth's, Joy Vitero, the Executive Director of the YMCA, and Joe Millak, the President of Spring Meadow, along with our Assemblyman Krista Phillips for their letters of support for this application. Follow up to that, we did send we've been having conversations with the County of Bergen and sent information as a follow-up to them with 4 years worth of crash reports for Wyckoff Ave that they requested, with regard to our request to lower the speed limit and uniform the speed limit on Wyckoff Ave from the intersection of Godwin, to right past the Reformed Church. The removal and pruning of shade trees that we went out to bid and awarded for should be starting in the next week or so. A lot of work going on all at the same time. DPW's been really busy. We also submitted a grant for NJDOT for Phase 2 for Lawlands Road. That's going to get us closer to the intersection of Lawlands and Wyckoff Ave. Sorry, not Wyckoff Ave, Franklin Ave. Was part of our 2024 paving program. Just going back to that, we have we worked in cooperation with the Borough of Franklin Lakes again. And several roads over in that area, Packer, Burritt, and then across Franklin on Covington are getting paved the entire length, not just stopping at the town line. Those were roads that were disturbed by PSE&G. So our residents and residents of Franklin Lakes are going to have a smooth road that, thanks to that cooperation that we have. I do want to acknowledge Jan Barr, who retired from the tax assessor's office on July 1st. Jan worked for the township for the past 10 years as an inspector in the assessor's office, and I wish her luck in her retirement. And then finally, the DEP Commissioner, Sean LaTourette, on Thursday at 1 p.m. will be at Ridgewood Water's Water Pollution Control Plant in Glen Rock to recognize Ridgewood Water's robust water conservation efforts as part of the DEP's ongoing Our Water's Worth It campaign. We've been invited. I was going to attend, but now I have a funeral that I need to attend on Thursday, so I will not be here. But that's all all I have for my
What
report.
time is that, Matt?
1 PM.
1 o'clock. That's
Is
it,
that,
Matt?
is that the
That's it.
one under, on DeBoer Drive there?
It is
Under
on,
208?
hold on. It is on it's 561 Prospect.
I'll try to get there, weather permitting.
All right, Township Committee reports. Tim, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start off. Not much to report from Ramapo Indian Hills. They still don't have a new administrator. They've had a couple of special meetings, but nothing was announced as to why they terminated the contract of the new administrator who was supposed to stop.
Is it the superintendent?
The superintendent, that's what I mean, sorry, the superintendent. So they still don't have a superintendent. Last night, I was with the fire chief over at 459 Weymouth. It's a house that's gonna be knocked down. They were able to train and cut holes in the roof. They were able to use their breathing apparatus, because they had the smoke machine on. So they went in with their breathing apparatus and got to go in there and experience how to get in and out and make sure they have their protective gear on. So it was nice watching them do it. We have the great volunteers for the fire department. It was nice to see them in action. Company 1, 2, and 3 both participated. The ambulance corps was also there. They were on hand just in case anybody needed, EMT services. So it was nice. Zoning board meets on Thursday. That's all I got.
Okay, Roger?
Okay, I always have to parse through what Matt has done, not to be too redundant. I kind of did a road trip with Joe Vanderplatt from the DPW, and we did go back here where all of the curbing is being done, and we're gonna have paving near the fire department right behind us, the library and the field area. I think the really good thing is that there's curb cuts now, and there's gonna be additional sidewalk placed so that it's a little bit safer for the kids to be crossing by the library, near the ambulance corps building, et cetera. So, we have an applause, that's great. Additionally, I participated in the planning meeting, which was really good, with regard to the repaving of Grandview, and it's going exactly as planned. So it's, there was one hiccup because the Greek church had some summer program going on, and everything has worked out. The milling was not an issue because people could still get in and out, and hopefully, as Matt had said, the paving goes from one end to the other so that there's no seam, which really makes for a better seal for the paving. So that's going great. And as Matt said, the rest of the road resurfacing program starts next week. We also got a great mason that's on our DPW that's doing some sewer work. And we just drove all around. A lot of tree work, as you said. Some has already commenced, ones that we can handle. I'll leave the police academy to you, Mayor, if that's okay. Let me, hold on, let me just check. Go with payroll resurfacing. And, yeah, that's it right now. I'll leave the police report to the mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Raj.
Tom. Okay. I'll take a piece of the Junior Police Academy, because I was at the graduation last week. It was terrific. I just want to say, from a committeeman and a resident, it was just a great program. And I want to especially compliment Officers Bill Christopher, Caitlin Naglione, Michael Scalise, Sergeant Kyle Ferreira, and the other officers that were involved during the week, and all the time and effort, along with Chief Murphy, that our officers put into this program. I remember when they started it, this was the 5th program that they've done for the kids, and it was a real action-packed week. They spent a lot of time letting people know on Facebook and social media during the week, and the graduation was terrific, and I was just happy to be there, and the kids were appreciative, and the parents were as well. I've been to a couple of Boy Scout Boy Scout ceremonies, Eagle Scouts, I always enjoy them. I think it's great that we recognize our Eagle Scouts, our Girl Scouts that achieve silver awards and gold awards. And you know, the common theme is every time you go to the Boy Scout, and I've been to many of them this year, and I try to go to all of them, is whatever they're doing, it benefits our town and our residents. It's a great sense of pride, not only for those Eagle Scouts and Girl Scouts that do their programs, but it leaves a lasting mark behind and encourages others to get involved and do something tremendous. So congratulations to all of them, and I'm very appreciative. The senior lunch last week, and I just want to report the seniors are very appreciative of the defibrillator at the Larkin House, and I want to just thank Meg Badansky and Charlie Bellucci from our Wyckoff Volunteer Ambulance Corps. They did a spectacular presentation at the senior lunch last Tuesday and how to use the AED. AED is automated external defibrillator, and just for the record, an AED is a lightweight portable device. It's intended for use by regular people, not trained medical people, but should there be an issue with someone's heart stopping or going into cardiac arrest, it's easy to use, and it delivers an electric shock to the chest and the heart, and when they detect an abnormal rhythm, it returns the heart back to normal, and when the heart stops. So thank you again to May and Charlie and the seniors. Again, we're very appreciative of them coming out, demonstrating it for them, and spending the time on the Q&A period. Very beneficial, so thank you again to them. Rec board meeting last night, uneventful, which is good. A lot of programs being planned, things going on this summer camps, a lot of things going on for the fall, but went very, very smoothly, and everyone's pitching in, doing a good job. Again, thanks to all our coaches and volunteers that make our rec program so invaluable. And just for the record, like I'm sure many of my fellow committeemen have fielded many calls and concerns, comments about the YMCA camp, traffic clogging up town hall in the morning and the afternoon. I know you guys are trying to meet on something on that, but I've just had a barrage. It's more so. We get it every year, but it's more so this year, and you know, everyone's trying to do the best they can.
Tom,
That's it.
I could add something to that, because
done
I
here.
was part of a discussion that it has improved greatly from the beginning. There's more of a pattern to it now than, you know, the first day or two, but it's still a lot of people.
Yeah, the streets are all clogged.
Yep,
Everywhere. Okay, thank you.
yep.
That's it?
Yeah,
Sure? That's it?
That's all I get to say.
Rudy?
That was the short version.
All right, that's what I said, you got it.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Careful what you wish for.
Thank
You
you,
must
Mayor.
not be feeling well.
Okay, Matt covered pretty thoroughly the sewer project on Terhune and Sycamac. So they are making progress. I don't need to comment on that further. We'll keep you updated on that as necessary. Thank you, Matt. I too attended 2 Eagle Scout Courts of Honor since the last meeting, one on June 23rd, the other on July 13th. I think, Roger, you were with us at the
Yes.
one on June 23rd, which was
Yep.
very nice. Actually, there were 2 brothers
Yeah,
that earned the Eagle Scout Court of Honor, or the Eagle Scout badge and neckerchief, so that was very nice. It was kind of a twofer, it was very nice. And also the one on the 13th, that was a single young man, did a very good, and I have to echo what Tom said. The amount of projects that these scouts, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, do within Wyckoff is quite extraordinary, and they really improve whatever they do, and they refurbish and they restore and they do a lot of good stuff, which we ordinarily wouldn't have if it weren't for these scouts doing these projects. So it's really great. So our hat is off to them. Planning board met on the 10th. It was a short meeting. Well, no, it wasn't a short meeting. Should have been a short meeting. We memorialized the application from Ridgewood Water for their treatment plant, their PFAS treatment plant on Holly Drive. We had a lot of discussion about a fence application at the corner of James and Cedar Hill, and that was, we agreed to carry that, and the applicant's gonna look into making some changes and come back at our next meeting. Right now, or at least last Wednesday, we didn't have any applications for August, so I'll keep you informed if we even have an August meeting. Wyckoff Environmental Commission met last night, and it was Beth Fisher's last meeting as the board president. We had Denise created a proclamation for Beth with all her accomplishments, which are many actually. She became a member of the Green Team in 2010. She became a commissioner in 2019, and she became the president chairwoman a couple of years ago. So we're going to miss Beth. She is going to stay on as a member of and the president of the Green Team. So that's a positive thing. She's not going away completely. There is no meeting for the Environmental Commission in August, so the next meeting is September. The board took a vote and endorsed Ben Weiner to replace her, but as we find out today, that replacement actually is the purview of the mayor, who appoints the chair or president of the Environmental Commission as per our ordinance. Thank you, Matt, for that. Fall cleanup is planned for September 21st with a rain date. This is the fall version of Team Up to Tidy Up. It's a smaller but full version, which we're required to do. The rain date is the 28th, which I believe is the fireworks. But this is a morning event, so it shouldn't be a problem. In the unlikely event that we need a rain date, it should not be a problem. It'll all be over by 10, 11 o'clock. I think that's it, Mayor.
That's it?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rudy. Hope everyone's enjoying their summer and everyone had a great 4th of July. Can't believe it's already halfway through July already. Tom reported on the Junior Police Academy and all of our officers that do such a great job every year running that program. It's always great to see all the children come out and attend. I was able to actually attend the Black Hawk helicopter landing on Memorial Field. It was pretty cool to see. I couldn't believe how big the Black Hawks actually are. There was one moment when I think about, was there 100 children in the police academy, and about 98 of them all lost their hats and flew across the field. That was a little funny. And the number one question that was asked about the Black Hawk is how do they go to the bathroom when they're in the air with no toilet up there? But no, it was great, and we were very fortunate and lucky to have that. It was definitely something to see. And library board meets tomorrow night, and that's all that I have.
Pete, if I may, just one quick thing from environmental. The fall Shred Fest will be, I don't have the, Matt, do you have the date on that? I'll report it next time. It's in,
I sent it out today, hold on one
I think it's in
second.
October.
October 18, I think?
Yeah,
October
something like
18.
that. But it will be on a Friday, and it will be at
Community Park.
Community Park, yeah. That was it.
Pete, real quick, I just want to thank Beth Fisher as well, having served on the Environmental Commission with her, and she'll be sorely missed, but it's good that she's still involved.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Roger.
Yep.
They're doing it on a Friday, the Shred Fest?
Yes,
It's on a Friday, yeah.
The spring one's on Saturday, the
Right,
fall one's on Friday.
yeah.
I thought we clarified that to have them both on Saturdays to make it.
I thought we were supposed to alternate. Now, maybe.
Well, the original was because we were getting a truck free from the county that was only supposed to be, only could get Monday through Fridays, but
Right.
that has changed.
We have two trucks, one's included in our contract.
Right.
with David, and the other one, I don't recall where we get it from, but.
It's still not the
From
county
the
truck?
county.
Okay, well, all right, it's something to look into, because I know in the past, I think some of the residents
Well,
liked it more on
what
the
we also
Saturday.
do is, if we do it on a Friday, we get our DPW folks there on straight time, not overtime.
Yeah.
So, anyway, We can look at it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Township Attorney report.
Yes, same line with the sewer extensions. I know the project's going on close to the barn. Everybody's mentioned that. We do have a couple others in the works. I just did a developer's agreement for one that's going to go up near Frederick Court. 3 homes. There's another smaller one near Joshua Lane, I think is the street. I expect something to go on with that. So.
We have Helena too.
And Helena, exactly. So those are in the works, and that's a good thing, to get more and more of the town sewered. Interesting you said about the Black Hawk. That's how we used to move a lot of artillery when I was in the Army. And hats blew off. We used to actually put our gas masks on just because everything would blow around. And if you were going to do a howitzer, they wouldn't land. You'd stick a guy on top there and the thing would come in, and he'd have to hook him, but you'd have to ground the guy, because otherwise he's going flying off the howitzer. So it's a very interesting thing to actually do air mobiles on Black Hawks.
It's definitely interesting to
yeah.
say.
Very interesting.
All right. Thank you, Dave. All right.
The only thing bigger would be the Chinook.
You know, in all honesty, the Marine version of Chinook can't carry as much as the Black Hawk.
Really?
Yeah, because I have a friend that flew them for the Marine Corps. I said, "You used to fly artillery around." We couldn't do it. He said, "Actually, the Black Hawk actually has a lot more lift,"
Damn.
which I didn't know either.
I would
Until
have never.
now,
guessed
the one the Army uses, you can move them, but the smaller one the Marines use, you can't do. They don't have the lift.
Thank you. All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes?
Mr. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
And Mayor Melchiong.
Yes.
With an affirmative vote, we are adjourned.
Thank you.